Hi everyone, Chris back in the shed with some more cider and some more cheese, but cheeses we've had before because I had some in the fridge knocking about. I thought I'll use them. One of them is the Sainte-Maure, the goat cheese from the Loire that we had a couple of tastings ago. I went for 2 tastings actually. It was absolutely delicious. I still haven't finished it, so I thought I'd grab that. And then a piece of Comté, which I didn't realise I had in the fridge, and it's been in the fridge for about 3.5 weeks. So yeah, 3.5 weeks. It's been wrapped in wax paper, so it's not ideal to keep it that long, but it's interesting to try it and see how it survived. And the cider I have is unusual in that it's not from the West Country, where pretty much all the ciders I sell are from the West Country, so Herefordshire, Gloucestershire, Somerset, etc. This one is from Kent, and it was given to me by a very kind gentleman called Johnny Phillips. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny is a cousin of the Trethowan brothers who make Pitchfork cheddar and go with, and I've been working with him down in Borough Market, and I took him some cider to try because I knew he liked cider, and he brought me a bottle of cider to try. So I'm going to try it here. I've actually opened it already. I didn't open it straight away. I was a bit off colour in the week, so I wasn't drinking too much cider. But yeah, I've actually opened it and cracked and had a taste of it. But I'm going to do it again for you guys. So the producer is called Biddenden. Now, when he said that, it rang a bell with me. I didn't know why, and it's because I was familiar with them as a winery. So actually, Biddenden's is a winery in Kent. It's been there for about 50 odd years, I believe. Do a lot of do sparkling wines. They do white wines. A lot of German varietals. German varietals often get planted in England because Germany's quite cold climate, as is England, or was England. We'll see where that's going. So they tend to do quite well. It's a lot of German varietals, but they also do some cider. So this is the bottle. There you go, a 1 litre bottle of 8.4% cider, dry cider with a screw cap. You know you're going to have a good time when you've got a litre of cider. It's 8.4% and it's got a screw cap. So yeah, so Kent, Suffolk, that part of the world is a traditional cider making regions. But because they used to produce the apples that were eaten in, say, London, what they grew that was their main market. What they grew were culinary apples. So they're making cider from surplus apples that are actually dessert and culinary apples. And indeed, this is made from culinary apples. In the West Country, these traditional cider apples, which are not really eatable, they're way more tannic, way more acid, but they actually have a lot more sugar in, but you can't tell because of the acidity and the tannin. You can't tell that actually they contain more sugar as well. And I tend to go for those apple varietals when it comes to cider. I tend to prefer them. They have more structure. But it's good to try other things. I don't sell anything from the East Coast because I've yet to find something that I felt had the same structure and character. But I think sometimes people describe these sorts of ciders from the East Coast as more wine-like because they don't have the tannin and so forth. Anyway, shall we pour it out and try it? Yes, Chris, let's do that. Okay then, I will. So, still cider. So there's not going to be any fizz on this. There we go. Light in colour, super light in colour. Super light in colour. I mean, if you didn't tell me, I'd say that was a perry rather than a cider. So I'm going to say this is... So they're bringing a wine mentality to this. So I'm going to say this is filtered. It's still very light in colour. So I'm guessing the apples haven't oxidised at all. The tans haven't oxidised all before pressing. So that's often how you get that bright amber richness is from the... letting the apples actually brown a bit, which is fine. You don't want rotten apples, brown apples, not a problem. It brings colour to the product. So yeah, very wine-like, I would say. And then let me just put my white card behind that so you can see it. There you go. As I said, 8.4%. Let's have a sniff. So, very clean, very fresh, no funk. This definitely isn't from somewhere like Ross-on-Wye, for example, or Gwatkins. It doesn't have that acidic twang on the nose that you get from like a Gwatkins. Like it's pretty much every Gwatkins cider you ever have. And it is slightly wine-like a light white wine, like a German varietal, I would say. Not Riesling, that's quite distinctive, but something in that sort of character, like floral, light, pleasant, quite perfumey. Yeah. Not obviously appley, I would say. More sort of Venus. So it ticks that box in a sense, That's what they said. That these guys actually say that that's kind of what it's more like a wine than a cider. So, yeah, did right so far. And even the alcohol, 8.4. If you look at cool climates, like Germany, for example, it's not unusual to have wines that are like 8.4%, if not less. Excuse me. Let's try it. Okay. Hint of tannin, boatloads of acidity, fresh green sort of acidity. I feel like it's more of a malic, so apple acidity, but not too mouth puckering. Not like biting into a cooking apple. It's actually quite pleasant, actually. And it is kind of lighter and more vinous. I mean, there's that subtle apple character there, but it's much closer to a very light, cold climate white wine, I would say. And I don't think this is bone dry either. It says dry in the bottle, but no, it's not. There's a little bit of sugar in that. In fact, it's off dry, I would say. So like an off dry white wine, very much in character, I would say. There's apple there, but if you didn't know what you were drinking, you could be lulled into thinking you were drinking a wine quite easily, I think. It's actually pretty pleasant, I have to say. Johnny says he likes to sit down with this, chill out, just drink it. You find it very relaxing. I can see why that would be the case. And I'm going to try out with some cheese now. Let's see how it works. White wines usually pair better with cheese than reds. Controversial, but true. Red wines contain tannins quite a lot, to varying degrees, but they do contain tannins, which they get from the skin. They get the colour from the skin. All grape juice is that colour. It only goes red when you leave it in contact with the skins if the skins are red. Okay, and the skins also contain tannins, so red wines are going to get colour from the skin, but also tannin from the skin to varying degrees. All cheese has salt and all cheese has acidity. Tannins and salt and acidity are not always comfortable bedfellows. White wines lack that tannin, therefore you don't have to worry about it so much when you're drinking it with cheeses. There's less of a clash. And actually a little bit of sugar in that isn't a bad thing. Salt and sugar, opposites, great. A little bit of acidity in that, great. Okay, let's go for the goat's cheese first. Just as a reminder. There it is. Oh, where is it? Come on. There you go. So it's a little bit gooey at the edge. You can see. There you go. Grey, ash. It's an ash rind, so it's got grey from the ash, but also geotrichum. A little bit of gooiness in there. You can see that's starting to run a bit at the edge. Looks fantastic. It tastes as good as it did the other day, which it will. It's going to be awesome. So I'm picking this first because if you go to the Loire Valley, the longest river in France, the Loire. But you tend to get you do get reds like Cabernet Franc, red grape. You get plenty down there, a bit of Pinot Noir as well. You get plenty down there, but primarily it's known for things like Sauvignon Blanc and Chenin Blanc. They're the two main grape varietals. Sauvignon Blanc is the most famous. My preference is for Chenin Blanc from the Loire. I love it. It's got a honeyed character. It goes great with goat's cheese. They're great bedfellows and they come from the same region. Whether that's because they come from the same region or coincidentally, I can never quite figure out. Anyway, let's try a bit of this cheese, which is absolutely rocking. Okay. Light, fluffy, with a bit of density to some minerality. It's great, really good. Cheers. Where it's breaking down under the rind, you get like an earthy mushroom nutty character. It's really good. Not bad, not bad. I think they're fine together. They're not fighting one another. They're both delicious, and you can enjoy them both whilst consuming them both. And that's kind of one of the most important things when you're pairing stuff. You just want to be able to enjoy both those things independently of one another, and hopefully together as well. It's nice. Cheese is rocking though. I can't get past how good this cheese is. So I'll have a bit more. That's really good. Okay. I'm enjoying this more than I thought. I've had to put a different head on to think about it. You know, I'm biased against it. The culinary dessert apple thing, it is different. I think I have a natural bias. I want to go for the traditional varietals that are bigger, bolder, more structured. But this is entirely valid. Okay, let's give it a go with some Comté, shall we? So Comté, totally different. High altitude, big, hard, cooked curd cheese, dense paste, sweeter flavours. This bit's been knocking around my fridge for 3+ weeks. Let's try it. I mean, it tastes a little bit jaded, but it's still pretty darn good. In fact, so, dulce de leche, I think I'm getting. Salted caramel / toffee, I'm getting. Hint of custard, egg custard, I'm getting. All excellent things. Anybody who knows me knows that those things are things that make me feel very excited. So I'm really enjoying, despite its age, despite it's not in prime condition, it's delicious. Let's try it with it. So the wines of the Jura, where this comes from, very unusual. Like things like Vin Jaune, Albois, they owe a lot in their production to sherry making, so they get like an oxidized nutty character, which is very unexpected and can be quite confusing when you first have it, because it's not like wine should taste, you know. When I first had it, I thought it was a fault. Then I had another bottle, realised that it's supposed to taste like that, and now they're amongst my favourite wines in the world. But let's try it. I've got a bit more of this cheese in my mouth. Let's try this. I think it's better with that. That acidity is really nice with that sweetness, and also there's also that saltiness in there. So like salted caramel with the sugars in it, a little bit of sugar. That's not dry. That is not a dry cider. The sweet and the sugar works really well. I wish it was sparkling almost. If I had a soda stream, I'd take it inside, fizz it up, bring it out and try it again. Because I think if you had bubbles as well, it'd be a really good partner to it. I think the bubbles would really help with the fat, scrubbing your palate, be really good. Cool. I hate the packaging though. Can I just say that? I hate the packaging. I think I was put off by the packaging. So I judged what was in the bottle. I judged the book by its colour, which is never a good thing to do. So yeah, maybe if they put it... I mean, the bottles, the wine bottles are beautiful. So maybe they should have a little think about this. Okay. That was interesting. I enjoyed it very much. Thanks again, Johnny. Okay, guys. I hope you got something from that. I certainly did. If you want to come back and see me again, please do. But until then, thanks for watching. Cheers.